in for a penny, in for a pound, smash everybody's data. But Helena and I got to talk about that on a walk from Sorrento to Portsea and back a while back. This business of, sometimes peace is the problem. Peace can be intolerable, and that leads to war. Okay, it's not the only reason, not the only thing that can lead to war. I mean, the Roman generals of old had to prove themselves sometimes, so sometimes they just make a war to prove themselves, but that's a different thing. But, often it's the case. Napoleon said that the peace is no good for you, so you have to go to war and keep killing until you're in a position to argue for a better peace. I think Ukraine going into Kursk recently, which isn't going so well, was a little bit about that, because Russia had gone into Donbass and a few areas. So Ukraine did a kind of counter going into, and they went into Kursk. So Russia's gone into Ukraine a bit. Ukraine goes into Russia a bit. And, you almost think that's almost like playing chess a little bit, so that when we get to the table in Yalta or wherever it's going to be, eventually there'll be peace talks eventually, probably. And you've got something to give. You can say, save face and all that sort of stuff. Look, I'll pull out of Kursk, if Russia gives us back, this Donbass or whatever it is, bit of Donbass, whatever, and that becomes part of the deal. But if you haven't gone into Kursk, you've got no chips. But we're on this walk, Lena and I, and from Sorrento to Portsea, which is a very nice area. Everyone down there in Sorrento and Portsea are doing very well out of the model that we call Australia. And Lena and I were on our 10K walk, and Lena was looking at all the houses. They're all mansions down there in Portsea. She's saying every second house has got a tennis court and a pool and a flag. What's with all the flags? She said. And I said, well, the peace is working for these guys. They like it, so and of course they're going to put a flag up, because they love this idea of Australia. It really works for these guys. And not only that, they're probably going to ring Neil Mitchell and say, hey, everybody should get behind this idea that we call Australia. It's a really good one. It's got a very nice flag, that sort of thing. And anyone who doesn't is a real bastard, Australia Day, go, 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 which I would do too if I was them. In fact, I think I am. Where's my flag? I haven't got one, but I might as well have one, because Australia works for me. Get on board, everybody. But there are people in Australia for whom the model isn't great, and people like me and those guys down in Sorrento, we're liable to say, be patriotic. This is a great idea, this Australia. Check out my flag. Or check out my garden. This is going great. It's a good idea. It's a good system. Everyone should be loyal to it. If you don't like it, get out. But that's because it's working for us. If it wasn't working for us, we might not have the flag, and I might not have this backyard, and I'd better get back to work, or I won't have this backyard.